Hey you guys, it's Elle and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the second episode of my series with 4 looks, 1 palette, and today we're going to be all about anti-aging tips for eyes like mine, which are deep set, hooded, kind of aging eyes. And again, we're going to be using the new CoverGirl Katy Cat palette. Alright, so if you want to know more about that, hit that subscribe button. Please give me a thumbs up, it really helps me out, and let's do it. Alright, so obviously I have my foundation on, brows are on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with just a little bit of eyeshadow primer. This one is Shadow Insurance by Too Faced. And I'm just going to pop a little bit here. So I'm going to go with the natural color of my lid. This primer doesn't have any color to it. I just like it because I feel like it works really well for me. And I'm going to work with my natural eye color because that's going to help us build kind of saturation of color, and so that's why I like to use an eyeshadow primer that has no color to it sometimes. As we used yesterday, it was a concealer. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to try to use some of the same products that I used yesterday, just so in case you guys do happen to get those, you know other ways to use them or whatever. So I'm just going to be using the Benefits Highbrow. This is the matte version. I'm going to use this to give a nice lift. So people that have my eye shape, this is already kind of pretty prominent. It's really pronounced. So you don't want to highlight this too much or too often with something that's really stark. But I like this because it's a cream, and so it does a better job of smoothing out any texture that you might have in this area. Now, if you have a very deep set eye and this is very pronounced, you can actually use the Anastasia one. This is the base #1, and of course, like I said yesterday, it comes in 3 different colors for different skin tones, but something that's like this, which is a lot less white or a lot less highlighting, will give you the same effect, but it just won't make this part of the eye kind of pop out as much. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to use it on a big fluffy brush. We want a lot of diffused color today. So I'm going to go into this shade right here. And today we're going to be using this side again. And then tomorrow and the next day we'll be using this whole palette. So we'll be doing definitely, you know, warm and cool tone looks. All right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to build color all along the bottom half of the eye. And these shadows really do blend out nicely, but I'm using it on a bigger, fluffier brush so I don't deposit too much color. This is going to be a big thing for you guys with this type of eye shape, and for beginners, is using a little bit bigger of a fluffier brush, like a blending brush, a shadow blending brush, will help you not deposit too much color and give a little bit more of that diffused eye look. Now again, we're using circular motions and we're going back and forth. Now, I do recommend with this eye shape that you do come on top of that brow bone a little bit. And you don't, so a lot of people that have this deep set hooded eye, you see that they stop right here at the crease or right here at the socket. I want you guys to bring it on top of that eye. And on top of that bone, I'm sorry. You don't want to go all the way up to the brow, but you do want to go a little bit higher than you normally are used to. Reason being is because it's going to A, cut this brow bone a little bit, B, it's going to make your eyes look bigger and make that deep setness of the eye less noticeable because you are bringing up the darker color higher, so it actually kind of elongates the deepness of the eye. Also, if you notice, I am not blending downward because we don't want to, gravity has already done enough for us with our eyes kind of going downwards. You want to make sure you stop out here, and you want to make sure that this is going in an upward motion. The line should continue from your lower lash line up to the end of your brow. That's where you want your shadow to follow. Now, say if you have hooded eyes that have quite a bit of folds in them, I want you to bring your eye up like this, and when you're blending, go right on top of any kind of folds or crepiness that you might have, and that's why we're using this shadow, is because it is matte. So we're starting to build with matte shadows. Again, that's going to be the one thing that's going to kind of hide that texture. It's going to really make sure that the kind of crepiness of the eyelids is diminished, as well as it's a lot easier to wear. It's a lot more approachable, it's a lot more modern, etc. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do something very similar to what we did yesterday, is we're gonna take this guy, this color, and we are going to go along the lash line. So I hope that this will help you build upon the skills that we have learned already, which is from yesterday's. And if you have not seen yesterday's, I will link it in the little, drop down dude up at the top here. But I want you to try to build upon what you guys have learned yesterday. And then I'm going to take my brush with nothing on it and kind of blend this out. I am going to bring this color all the way in. And again, we're stopping at the corner and lifting upwards and blending out and up and into the crease. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your finger on this center little kitty cat shade here, and we're going to pop this in the center of the eye, just like this. And you see how that kind of opens the eye up and reflects the eye. I like these colors because, and the formula of these is because they're really soft and silky and they're not too glittery. This is definitely more of a satin finish eyeshadow. So it looks kind of like that, really, really pretty. You can also hit your brush with a little bit of rehydrating spray and then put it in there, but I like how this looks with your finger. And then I am going to take a little bit of this guy over here. They're so soft. These, oh my gosh, they're so soft. And I'm going to go right on top. And what that's going to do is that's just going to reinforce the openness of your eye. So again, with a hooded deep set eye, you want to bring your color up a little higher like we talked about, but you also want to kind of highlight the center of your eye, because what that's going to do is it's going to open the eye up and give the eye a little bit more of an optical illusion of it being open and bigger, especially this portion right here. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of setting spray, and then we're going to go right into here. And we're going to do the same technique on the inside corner of the eye. And then the last thing, this is so easy, you guys. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a brown liner. You can use the same one we used yesterday from Hourglass, but I'm actually just going to use this one from Merle Norman. It's called Earthy. It's just a matte brown shadow. And I'm going to tight line, because tight lining is so important, especially when we're talking about this kind of eye shape, and especially when we're talking about a more depth at the lash line. You know that I'm a big believer in tight lining. Okay, so that's as simple as that is. Isn't that so awesome and easy? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some mascara on. I have already curled my lashes because this is going to give you an instant eye lift, just like we talked about yesterday. It's really essential to curl no matter how long or short your eyelashes are. It's going to really make the difference in the way your eye looks. I also enjoy black mascara because it just really frames the eye area, but if you are a little bit more like a redhead or super fair, get a really nice deep brown mascara, and that's a great place to go, especially when you're so fair and when your eyelashes are already so blonde. All right, so both eyes are done. Obviously, you can choose to leave the look just like this, only mascara on the top. That's what I'm going to actually personally do, because I just love how really kind of beautiful the eye looks when you just have mascara on the top and your shadow is just kind of really nice and blended out on the top. But of course, if you did want to, you could take very little of this color and just give a hint under the eyes. Maybe I'll show you. I don't like saying stuff and then not doing it. So I'm going to use the same kind of detailed brush. I'm going to use very, very little of that product, and I am just going to gently pull this under the eye, and I'm going to leave it only on the outside of the eye. Take my finger and blend it out. So you just want to barely even see it. You don't really want to see it, okay? Let's move on, but I am going to only use mascara on the top. Okay, that's kind of like, I'm super into that right now, this mascara on the top situation. All right, so I'm going to give you another option for what we did yesterday for a matte highlighter, because so many of you guys loved that look, and I know a lot of us fight with fine lines here and still want a highlighted glow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Shy Beam by Benefit. I actually used to use this all the time. It is such a beautiful product. Again, it's cream. I used to use this all the time. I would do this exact thing. Take my little booty blender, and you can use your finger, of course. and just really press this in. Look how pretty that is. Oh gosh, that's so pretty. All right, especially women that have oilier skin, this is going to be a rock star technique for you, so you can still get this kind of highlighted glowing look where everything is being lifted up, but you don't have to have the shimmer that you already naturally are going to have. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to set with an luminizing powder, which this one is by Stellar, and it's the Haze powder, and it's a finishing powder, and I'm just going to push this all over the skin. I'm going to use a very little bit. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to use and we'll get into, you know, throughout the other videos is using, I'm just opening up my new blush, cream products for the whole face. I did do a 5 days of love about using cream products all over the whole face, but I thought I would do that with this eye palette as well. Okay, so here's another Milani, beautiful little blush. It looks like a rose. I know I'm like so into these Milani blushes right now. It's called Blossom Time Rose, and it has a little bit more of a peachy kind of glow to it. So pretty. And I'm going to apply blush first and only. And that's going to be something really new, because if you have, so as we age, our face loses volume, all right? So a lot of us start to get a little bit, and my face is even getting the culprit too. See, these are starting to happen. My face is starting to get kind of thinner here. I used to be a lot rounder. And so we don't necessarily need to use bronzer or contour if we don't want to. All we can do is just use a beautiful blush to really shape the face and give the face some gorgeous glow. And that's all you really need, because your face will naturally kind of go in and sink in and create a natural shadow. So that is something to definitely keep in mind. This blush is so gosh darn pretty. Woo! All right, it has a nice shift to it. It's very natural looking. I love it. And then what I would do is I'll hit it with a little bit stronger blush. This one's by Hourglass. This is in incandescent flash. And I will use just a little bit on my apples of my cheeks just to create a little bit more definition. All right, so that is that. Now let's finish this bad boy off with my birthday gift from Sephora. This is the Bite birthday gift lip. It is in Glaze. Oh, this is such a pretty color. All right, so that is a beautiful color. This formula is more a satin matte, but it's a very comfortable color. You can, of course, go nude, which I'm going to show you next. I just wanted to show you two lipstick colors. So I'm going to finish it off with a Milani gloss. It's called the Amore Shine, and this is in Delight Dulce. And this is it's a dupe for Orgasm by NARS. So there you go. That is that lip. It is so, so pretty. Again, you know what? I'm actually not going to change this lip. I'll do nude lips with the other look, since it is more, these are a little bit more kind of dramatic colors on that side. But I just love this lip with that gloss over it. It kind of softened it a little bit, gave it a little bit more hydration. Also, too, when you do put a gloss on top of things, it does make your lips look a little bit more full, a little bit more plump, that kind of thing. I really, really enjoy how this look turned out. So all I think I'm going to do is just hit it with the Urban Decay Hydra Charge Complexion. It's a primer, but honestly, it just has niacinamide in it, and it just is going to make the skin look glowy. And that's going to be one last thing too, that if you guys haven't heard me talk about this in other videos, if you decide to use a powder, because most of us are going to powder our foundation, you are going to need to use a rehydrating spray, especially if you are more dry, you have a little bit more mature aging skin. What it does is it basically melds the powder into the skin and doesn't make it as powdery. And so it actually just starts to look like skin again. And so it's really one of those steps that I never ever miss, as well as I never ever miss with clients, okay? So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you guys so much for being here. Again, we will be ramping it up for another look tomorrow. Please leave your comments below. I love to hear from you guys, and thank you so much for your response on my last video. It's really inspiring to hear that I have helped you guys, and just hearing about your everyday lives and how you guys have incorporated this and how you guys are like running to your bathrooms to try out this look. It just makes me feel really good, and I am just so blessed to have you guys be a part of this amazing community, and thank you guys so much. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Lots of love from me to you. Mwah. Bye, guys. All right, so if you stayed to the end, another little quick tip is by doing blush this way, where you kind of have done a light wash up to the temples and into the hairline, you kept it up and out of the hollows of the cheeks, and then using a little bit of a poppier color here, brighter color, does not have to be luminescent, it can be matte. But using a little bit more color right here in the apples of our cheeks allows the face to be a little bit more youthful and rounded right here. I mean, because that is definitely something that a younger face has, is a lot of usually volume right here, and that's going to mimic it, especially whenever you do use a blush that is a little bit more illuminizing. All right, so thank you guys again. I'll see you later.